Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. The topic which I am going to present today is water pollution. As I have already described earlier in my previous lecture about introduction of water pollution, the major sources including point source and the non-point sources of water pollution, along with little documentaries and in the form of pictures presentations. Now we will start from the groundwater pollution, how to prevent the major type of these pollution, and what should be the control measures in order to prevent the water pollution in our environment. This is Dr. Shiza from Department of Botany, BSNT, Education University, Township, Lahore. So, as it's the remaining part of the groundwater pollution, we have already studied what is the groundwater pollution that occurs when the pollutants are normally released to the ground and make their own way to the groundwater is called groundwater pollution. So there are many effects of these groundwater pollution. Plant and animal life are often threatened by decreasing quality of the groundwater. Waterborne illness and the chemical concentrations end up spreading among human and the animal population that rely on the groundwater resources. Often the people who rely on the water most are unable to pay for its expensive cleanup measures. For example, there should be many diseases related to these groundwater pollution, as dangerous illnesses like hepatitis, cholera. These are often linked to the groundwater pollution and the poor water sanitation. Therefore, this type of the contamination goes unnoticed for the longer period of the time, while it silently affects the larger communities. So that oftentimes the people only notice the effects of the contaminated groundwater when birth defects begin to be reported. And one of the most common example for serious condition which is caused by the groundwater pollution is the nitrate induced illness, that is called as methemoglobinemia, or it is also called as blue baby syndromes. So it is a condition where a baby's skin turns blue. This occurs due to a decreased amount of hemoglobin in the baby's blood. Hemoglobin is a blood protein that is responsible for carrying oxygen around the body and delivering it to the different cells and tissues. So in this case, this can affect particularly the children whose formula is mixed with a nitrate-rich water. So the pollution from the benzene has also been known to cause the cancer as well. Groundwater pollution has also some economic effects. For example, the poor water quality can harm any industry linked to its usage. For example, the fishermen, they suffer when their catch is affected by the groundwater pollution. So in the pictorial presentation, you can see in an agricultural crops, these fertilizer and chemicals, when they are applied to the crops, they leach down into the groundwater and become part of the water channels where they can create the groundwater pollution. Here you can see another picture of the groundwater pollution. This is another picture creating the groundwater pollution in our ecosystem. That a lot of chemicals, weedicides, herbicides, and the pesticides are given to the agricultural crops by the human beings, and they are creating groundwater pollution by mixing these chemicals and the weedicide or any other type of the fertilizer that has been mixed within the water and ultimately going to the river that can also contaminate the river and the ocean water. Another type of water pollution in many is called as the microbiological. That is, in many communities of the world, the people drink untreated water that comes directly from the river or the stream or the canal. So the natural pollution caused by these microbes, including viruses, bacteria, and the protozoa, and it would also affect many of the aquatic life. For example, fishes, crabs, dolphins, and they can also cause serious illness to the humans who drink from such waters. For example, there are serious diseases, including that comes in which the causative agent is from the microorganisms. They may create diseases of cholera, and especially in the poor countries, the health of the people is mostly concerned and it is badly affected. So why? Because in the poorer country or in the developing countries, they do not have facilities to treat the polluted water, and the many factories and the industries are releasing or throwing their effluent or the industrial wastewater directly into their nearby canal, stream, or the river without any further treatment of that water. So here you can see the picture. In some poorer countries like Ethiopia, they are running with a very shortage of water, so they can directly drink the water that is available in the nearby stream or the ocean. So you can think that how these people, and particularly the children, are drinking the dirty water that cause a deadly illness in these students. And these are some of the school childrens that are filling up their bottles with these contaminated water, because it is only available source of the water in that poorer countries. Suspended matter is another type of the water pollution, and they may include some pollutants that do not dissolve into the water. For example, various substances, particles, and the chemicals. So as their molecules are too big to be mixed between the water molecules, so this matter or the material is called as the particulate material or the particulate matter, and it can often be a cause of the water pollution. The suspended particles eventually settle down and they cause a thick silt at the bottom. Some of these pollutants later settle down under the water body, where they can harm and even kill our aquatic microorganisms that live at the floor of these water bodies. Here you can see a picture of the marine debris, which can be defined as any persistent solid material that is manufactured or processed directly or indirectly, internationally, intentionally, or unintentionally disposed of or abandoned into the marine environment or the Great Lakes is called as the marine debris. Chemical water pollution. Many industries and the agriculture, the work involves the use of many large variety of the different chemicals that can run off into the water and pollute it. Metals and the solvents from the industrial work can pollute the river and the lakes. Runoff these pesticides can cause the water pollution and poison all our aquatic or the marine life. So the major sources are industries and the farmers that work with different type of the chemicals. And this is mostly called as the common point source pollution, because these chemicals which are used to control many weeds, insect, and the pests are ultimately mixed with the water to create the chemical water pollution, where they can be released into the any nearby drain or the stream and end up into the river or the ocean. So these are poisonous to the many form of aquatic life by slowing their metabolic rate, slow their development, making them infertile and ultimately kill them. So this is a picture showing the chemical water pollution. Oil spill. Oil spillage is another type of water pollution. An oil spill is the release of a liquid petroleum hydrocarbons into the environment, especially the marine ecosystem, due to the human activities, and it is also considered to be a type of the pollution. So the term is usually given to the marine oil spills where the oil is released into the ocean or the coastal water accidentally. So oil spills usually have only a localized effect on the wildlife, but it can be spread to the various miles apart. This oil can also cause death of many fishes because the oil gets stuck into the feeder of many aquatic life, including seabirds, and they lost their ability to fly. This is the picture showing the accidental release of the oil during an oil spill. So the oil spill, and it is a very famous case of India. जब वहाँ पे एक oil spill हुआ था तो सारा oil इसको बहुत time लगा था to clear that oil from that ocean. Oil spills make up about 12% of the oil that enters the ocean. The rest comes from shipping travel, drains, and the dumping. Oil spills cause a very localized problem, but it can be the catastrophic to the local marine wildlife, such as fish, birds, and the sea otters. Oil cannot dissolve into the water and it forms a very thick sludge into the water. You can see a layer of the sludge over the water in the form of the oil. Here, I will show you a small documentary in which there is a release of the oil accidentally, which is termed to be as the oil spill.
Even during these modern devices, oil spill continues to be a major threat to the marine environment. With vast numbers of people living and depending on coastal areas for fishing and tourism throughout the world, the consequences of oil spills can be serious. Oil companies, ship owners, and shipbuilders shoulder the responsibility of preventing such a disaster. Most man-made oil pollution comes from land-based activity, but public attention has tended to focus most sharply on sea-going oil tankers. In general, lighter refined petroleum products such as diesel and gasoline are more likely to mix in the water column and are more toxic to marine life. But these products evaporate quickly and do not persist long in the environment. Heavier crude oil of less toxicity can remain on the water surface for much longer. As oil is lighter than water and does not decompose, it will remain on the surface for a very long time. As it is also flammable, oil spills can often fuel ocean fires.
So next type of water pollution is called as the industrial water pollution. Industry is a huge source of water pollution that produces the pollutants that are extremely harmful to the people and the environment. Many industrial facilities use fresh water to carry away the waste from the plants into the river, lakes, and the oceans. So among the industrial pollutants, the asbestos is a pollutant of serious health hazard, which is considered to be the carcinogenic. So many industrial facilities are using the fresh water that can carry the waste from the plants, rivers, lakes, and oceans. And these pollutants may consist of a huge variety of toxic pollutants, including asbestos, lead, mercury, nitrates, phosphates, sulfur, oil, and the petrochemicals. So, asbestos. This pollutant is a serious health hazard and carcinogenic. Asbestos fibers can be inhaled and they cause illness such as asbestosis, mesothelioma, lung cancer, intestinal cancer, and the liver cancer. Second pollutant is called as lead, which is a metallic element and it can cause the health and the environmental problems. It is also a non-biodegradable substance, so it's hard to clean up once the environment is contaminated with lead. Lead is also harmful to the health of many animals, including humans, as it can inhibit the action of bodily enzymes. Then comes to the mercury. This is a metallic element and can cause health and environmental problems. It is a non-biodegradable substance, so it is hard to clean up once the environment is contaminated with this mercury. It is also harmful to the animal health as it can cause illness through the mercury poisoning. Then comes to the nitrates. The increased use of fertilizers means that the nitrates are more often being washed from the soil and into the river and the lakes. And this can cause eutrophication, which can be very problematic to the marine environments. Phosphates. The increased use of fertilizers means that the phosphates are more often being washed from the soil and into the river and the lakes. This can cause eutrophication, that is the process of over-enrichment of excessive nutrients in the form of phosphate and the nitrate will lead to initiate the algal bloom, the growth of the algae, which can be very problematic to the marine ecosystems. Sulfur. This is also a non-metallic substance which is harmful for the marine life. Oil. Oil does not dissolve in the water as have previously described in a short documentary. Instead, it forms a thick layer just like a sludge on the water surface. This can stop the marine plants receiving enough light for the photosynthesis, and it is also harmful for the fish and the marine debris. Petrochemicals. This is formed from the gas or the petrol and can be toxic to the marine life. So there are many other causes of the water pollution, including sewage and wastewater. So sewage is a term which is used for the wastewater that often contain feces, urine, and the laundry waste. Along with the term wastewater and the sewage, they are both produced by domestic purposes in which we used a large variety of chemicals which is directly released from domestic drain and into the nearby canal, or finally they are released into the sea and where they can be mixed up with the fresh water. So the sewage water also carries very harmful microorganisms in the form of bacteria and the chemicals that can cause serious health problems. Pathogens are also known as common water pollutant in this case. Here you can see the sewage and wastewater directly releasing from in an industry outlet where they can be mixed with the fresh water in order to create the industrial water pollution. Mining. It is another cause of the water pollution. It is a process of crushing the rocks and extracting the coal and the minerals from the underground. These elements, when extracted in the raw form, they can contain harmful chemicals, increase the amount of toxic elements, but these can, when be mixed with the fresh water, may create serious health problems. There are basically two types of mining. Underground mining occurs when the minerals are deep below the ground, and the hydro minings, that is the name indicate, hydro, involving using high pressure water to blast against the face of the seams to remove coal and carry it to a dewatering plant or to the surface. Here you can see how the mining water is going to be mixed with the fresh water, creating the mining activities or creating the water pollution due to the mining activities. So this all yellowish or some type of brown color water is coming from the mining industries, that is also mixing up with the fresh water and creating the contamination of that water. Again, this is the picture showing the mined water that is leaching into the nearby streams or the ocean, where it may contaminate our groundwater pollution. So ocean and the marine dumping. Marine dumping has been defined as the deliberate disposal at the sea of waste or other matter from the vessels, aircraft, platforms, or many other man-made structures, as well as the deliberate disposal of these vessels themselves. Marine dumping can destroy or degrade the important habitat for aquatic species and cause coastal erosions, which affect the health and the productivity of the marine environment. So in case of ocean and marine dumping, following things should be utilized or should be controlled in terms of paper waste, food waste, plastics, rubber, metallic, and aluminum waste. In some countries, they are directly deposited into the sea or they are dumped into the sea. All these waste types, they will take time to become decomposed. Here you can see how an industrial solid waste, and the waste has a huge category of every waste, including solid waste in terms of if we are particularly taking interest in the leather industry, then this solid waste may be consisting of all hair, shavings, pieces of salts, chemicals, metals mixed with the soil, and leather tanned pieces, all are going to be dumped into the nearby ocean or the sea. Again, you can see a picture of this dumping area inside the sea or the oceans. This is the marine debris dumping in the underside of the sea. Underground storage and the tube leakages. Many liquid materials and the petroleum products, they are stored in the metal and steel tubes underground, and other sewage systems, they may run into the underground tubes. Over time they rust and they begin to leak. So due to these leakage, they also contaminate the soil, and in the liquid form, that liquid products may be mixed up with the water to contaminate all type of water bodies. Effects of water pollution. Many water bodies near the urban areas, including the cities and the towns, are considered to be the highly polluted. This is the result of both the garbage, which is dumped by individuals, starting from the domestic usage, and a large number of dangerous chemicals which are legal or considered to be illegally. They are dumped without any proper law from the manufacturing industries that can create the health centers and the schools and the marketplaces. Actually, these are all the sources from where the effect or the negative impact of the water pollution are going to be started. Death of the aquatic animals. An excess of nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus which are present into the water, they lead to an increased growth of toxic algae and aquatic plants that can cause poisoning and death in the fish and the other animals who feed on them. And mostly aquatic animals are badly affected by the negative impacts of this water pollution, including dead fishes, crabs, birds, seagulls, and the dolphins. And as a result of their death, they may often become float onto the surface of the water, and these further killed by the pollutant which is already present in their living environment. Here you can see the dead fishes. They may come on the beaches or the canals over the surface of water because they are highly contaminated. They cannot tolerate the huge concentration of these toxic water pollutants, so ultimately they will be died. Disruption of the food chain. Pollutants such as lead and the cadmium, mostly eaten by the tiny animals. Later, these animals are consumed by the bigger animals, including fish, shellfish. In this way, all the trophic level in a food chain are continuously disrupted by the death of smaller animals, ultimately the larger ones. And for example, I have already described earlier, the producer consumers can be eaten up by the secondary producer or consumers and then tertiary. And in this way, at the end, that fish that is at the top predator level in an ecological pyramid, it can be eaten by the humans. And in this way, the human beings can also be affected by eating such contaminated fishes. Specifically, the mercury accumulation in the fish is going to be absorbed, or it can be hyperaccumulate. So this process is called as biomagnification. So the diseases by eating these seafoods or the aquatic life, hepatitis is the main reason, and cholera and many other diseases by drinking the poor drinking water treatment from these contaminated water can be an always outbreak in the developing countries. And these people are suffering from the cholera and many other diseases. Another effect which can be seen on the broader level is the ecosystem, which is the interaction of the living things in a place depending on each other's for life, can be severely changed or destroyed by the water pollution. The impact of ecosystem destruction are increased flooding due to the erosion of the soil and the lack of the trees, rising of the sea levels due to the melting of the glaciers, which has caused global warming, disruption of the food chain when the apex predators become extinct. And mostly in this case, human beings or the human population are involved, so that our most precious forest in terms of the ecosystems are going to be vanished from all over the world. These are the pictures showing the disruption of an ecosystem. So there should be some control or the preventary measures or the control remedies in order to prevent these water pollution that we as being the humans we should do in order to control these water pollution bad effect. So never throw rubbish away anyhow. Always look for the correct waste bin. If none is around, please take it home and put it into your trash can. This includes places like beaches, riverside, and the water bodies. So please use water wisely. Every drop of water is very important. is very important. So the water should only a small amount of the water should be used during the drinking purposes and the washing of your hands. Do not waste the water, but because it will be going to be a deficiency of water in the near future if we do not save the water. So do not throw the chemicals, oils, paints, and other medicine down the sink, drain, or the toilet. In many cities, our local environment office can help up with these disposal of medicine and the chemicals. We should check our local authorities if there is a chemical disposal plan for the local resident. For example, बहुत सारी जो research laboratories हैं जहाँ पे chemicals का industrial waste पे काम हो रहा है due to on the environment, or basically particularly focusing on to the water pollution experiments. So वो क्या करते हैं, अपने effluent, अपने industrial waste को lab में लेके आते हैं, अपने experiments run up करते हैं, chemicals use करते हैं, जिसकी वजह से they directly dispose their chemical into the nearby sink, which is situated in that laboratory. Without disposing or without treatment of that, उसको वो वहीं पर फेंक देते हैं, जिसकी वजह से वो फिल्टर जो हैं क्लॉग कर देते हैं, वही वाले सारे और कितनी तरह की टॉक्सिक पोल्यूटेंट जो कि उस कंटामिनेटेड वाटर में, इंडस्ट्रियल फ्लूएंट में या वेस्ट वाटर में प्रेजेंट होते हैं, डायरेक्टली हमारे ग्राउंड वाटर में शामिल हो जाते हैं. और ना हम उस तरह से अपनी ना सिर्फ लैब को पोल्यूट कर देते हैं, बल्कि अपने पूरे सराउंडिंग एटमॉस्फेयर, हमारी इकोसिस्टम, हमारी फूड चेन, हर तरह का फैक्टर जो है इसमें इन्वॉल्व होता है और बैडली इफेक्ट होता है बाय दीज नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ द वाटर पोल्यूशन. सो बाहर की कंट्रीज में क्या होता है, वहां पे एक पर्टिकुलर सॉलिड वेस्ट कंपनी के साथ उनका कोई एक कोलैबोरेशन होती है इस तरह की लैब्स की. तो जब आफ्टर 1 month और मंथली बेसिस के ऊपर उनकी गाड़ी आती है, सारा हर तरह का मटेरियल जो कि टॉक्सिक पोल्यूटेंट कंटामिनेटेड वाटर पे या किसी भी तरह का वेस्ट, इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट के ऊपर होता है, वो सारा वहां से कलेक्ट करते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू अ सर्टेन लॉ. वहां पे लॉ जो है वो बने हुए हैं, जबकि यहाँ पर इस तरह की कोई भी चीज फॉलो नहीं की जा रही. एंड वी आर जस्ट थ्रोइंग आवर वेस्ट, chemically treated water, our industrial effluent directly into our ocean, into the water channel, जिससे कि water pollution का खतरा जो है day by day ज्यादा बढ़ रहा है. Then if we use a chemical and the pesticide into our garden farms, then keep in mind that do not overuse the pesticides and these fertilizers in order in the agricultural field. बिकॉज इससे जो है जितना केमिकल रन ऑफ होगा इनटू द नियर बाय वाटर रिसोर्सेज, चाहे उसके करीब कोई नहर है, कोई खाला है, सो जितने सारे केमिकल्स हैं वो सारे वहां पे मिक्स हो जाएंगे. सो स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट द ऑप्शंस ऑफ कंपोस्टिंग एंड यूजिंग द ऑर्गेनिक मैन्योर इंस्टेड. तो बजाय कि हम केमिकल कोटिंग मिक्सचर की फॉर्म में फर्टिलाइजर्स को यूज करें, वी शुड ऑलवेज यूज ऑर्गेनिक फर्टिलाइजर दैट शुड बी फ्री फ्रॉम एनी टाइप ऑफ केमिकल्स. So buy more environmentally safe cleaning liquids for use at home and many other public places, and they are also should be less dangerous to the environment. So इस तरह की चीजें खरीदने जो कि EPA से मंजूर शुदा है, मीन दे आर ISO सर्टिफाइड, जिसकी वजह से वो यूज करने की वजह से किसी तरह की कोई भी environmentally pollution क्रिएट करने की वो हम लोग नहीं कर सकते इन चीजों को यूज करते हुए. सो इफ वी लिव क्लोज टू द वाटर बॉडी, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम किसी ऐसी जगह पे रह रहे हैं जहाँ पे कोई वाटर चैनल हमारे घर के करीब से गुजर रहा है, एंड तो हमारी कोशिश ये होनी चाहिए कि वहां पे सबसे ज्यादा ट्रीज उगाए जाएं, प्लांटिंग की जाए वहां पे, फ्लावरिंग शुड बी अराउंड योर होम. सो जैसे ही rain आए, the chemicals may run from your home does not easily drain into the water. So this will be the best way in order to avoid each and every type of the pollution. So here is a short documentary related to these problems. how we can prevent the water pollution by 8 methods. First, get rid of polluted water before it ever happens. Here are some 8 ways to prevent these types of water pollution. Do not dump in or around the rivers. That is marine and should avoid. Marine dumping should be avoided. So this is actually the main leading cause of water pollution. In case of septic system properly, they should be cleaned and maintained because these septic tanks will eventually leak down, by which they can release the water directly. We should always follow all the water laws and regulations that has been set up by the government level. The dispose of pesticides and the chemical properly. Never pour these substances out in your yard or in the storm drains, the sink, or in the toilet. And it will also, all of these pipes and drains lead to the water resources. Never pour cooking fats and oils down directly into the sinks because they usually clog up the drains and they cause serious types of illness. Refrain from using the bleach when washing at home, which can cause internal burning as well as poisoning and by seriously damaging the environment. Clean up the yard regularly because if you notice your neighborhood getting very dirty, organize a cleanup day. Educate, and educate the people, your friends, your family about water safety and the water pollution. So saving our water is not just for us, it's also for our children's as well. So liquid waste or the sewage treatment plants. In a wastewater treatment, sewage treatment is the process of removing the contaminant from the municipal wastewater containing mainly the household sewage plus some industrial wastewater. They can be removed by the physical, chemical, and the biological processes that are used to remove the contaminant and produce a treated wastewater that is safe enough to release finally into the environment. So the wastewater in the liquid form that can be flushed from the toilet after the bathing, washing utensils from the skins, and general cleaning processes goes down a drain into the pipe which join the larger sewer pipe under the road. So here you can see a picture of the sewage and the wastewater treatment plant. अगर हम पाकिस्तान में बात करें तो कसूर में एक प्राइमरी ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट जो है वो इंस्टॉल किया हुआ है and that agency is called as KTWMA, that is the Qusur Tannery Waste Management Agency. What they have installed is that there will be a primary treatment plant, and starting from they have outlets from where the different industrial effluent of all the tanneries of the Qusur are coming down for the treatment. और इस इंडस्ट्री में वो सारा पानी ट्रीट करके देन बाहर नियर बाय ड्रेन में फेंक देते हैं, जो ड्रेन डायरेक्टली जो जाता है वहां से रिवर सतलुज के साथ मिल जाता है जाके. And according to their reports, they have cleared about 99.9% of this contaminated water from the all toxic effect of heavy metals. Particularly tannery की बात करें तो chromium is very important. So what they have installed in their agency, there are basically 2 larger lagoon at the initial process for the aeration purposes, जहाँ पे हर तरह का effluent जो है वो aerate होता है with the help of big aerators जो कि mechanically machinery के साथ involved हैं, और अगर वो चलते रहते हैं they run off in order to maintain the BOD, biochemical oxygen demand, which is required by the certain microbe in order to complete that process. After that, all this material is going down into the big sedimentation tanks, and sedimented के बाद उस पे जो upper layer बन जाती है, that will be removed out through the large pipes and is dumped into the सॉलिड वे स्लज डंपिंग एरिया, स्लज लगून, और उसके बाद 16 डिफरेंट लगून्स उन्होंने बनाए हुए हैं जहाँ पे यही वाला इंडस्ट्रियल एफ्लुएंट, टैनरी इंडस्ट्रियल एफ्लुएंट वेस्ट वाटर रिसाइकल होता रहता है 24 घंटे। और अगर आप कंपेयर करें द इंडस्ट्रियल एफ्लुएंट ऑफ वन lagoon with that of 16 lagoon, so you will find a huge difference in terms of most toxic heavy metals. इस इंडस्ट्री में, इस क्रोम लैंड क्रोम टैंड लेदर इंडस्ट्री में क्रोमियम इज वेरी टॉक्सिक। chromium 6 की फॉर्म में प्रेजेंट होता है, एंड एट द एंड ऑफ दिस प्रोसेस इट इज मोस्टली कन्वर्टेड इनटू द chromium 3 form, which is less toxic. So initially they have only installed the primary treatment stage. After that, lagoon 16 lagoon, then there are two larger lagoons of sludge dumping area, and after the sludge dumping area there are another area for the dumping of all and every type of the solid waste dumping area, जो कि 15 और 20 सालों से बना हुआ है. And how these toxic material may do not seepage down and do not mix with our groundwater channel. They have installed our lining of the geomembrane, जो कि इस seepage को control करती है. So अभी तक तो ये reported है, but according to our studies, because we have performed various experiments on these types of pollutant in case of solid as well as liquid of that tanning area, and according to our research report finding is that they have only cleared 40 to 50% of heavy metal, not 99% of these heavy metals. And ultimately the water which is from the last 16 lagoon is directly going down into a nearby drain where it is end up into the river Satluj. So अगर वो सेकेंडरी ट्रीटमेंट स्टेज को भी इंस्टॉल कर लें तो ये वाला पानी काफी हद तक क्लियर हो जाएगा, और बाय द इंस्टॉलेशन, बाय द एप्लीकेशन of this secondary treatment stage, which is considered to be the final treatment stage, they have filtered out their water. और जहाँ पे भी फिर वो आगे चाहे सतलुज में जाए, चाहे कोई ओशन में जाए, ड्रीम्स में जाए, स्ट्रीम्स में जाए, it will be free of metal and it will not cause any bad effect into the vegetation, into the crop. और इस industry के vicinity में in the back side and the opposite side there are many vegetable gardens and the fruit gardens, और वहाँ की जो atmospheric air है that is quietly polluted because of all these processing of liquid wastewater of tanning industry. With this, our topic of water pollution is going to be an end. The next topic will be delivered into the coming lectures. Thank you very much for listening.